How's it going out there tonight, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Big T, right here with all of you guys right here tonight. Welcome to episode number 510 of the Beyond the Ring with Big T Elite Wrestling Podcast here for today, Wednesday, July 19, 2023. And this is your AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts 2023 review and results show. Now, this might have been the best episode of AEW Dynamite of all time. It was definitely a very complete episode. How? Well, I'll definitely explain that. I loved what I saw on the show tonight. The entire second hour of the show was, dedicated to the whole Blood and Guts match. They did a great job the whole first hour. They did a great job on everything too. I mean, this show did exactly what it needed to do. And Tony Khan and AEW should be really proud of themselves for the show that they put on tonight. I'll tell you guys that much, because it was great. But anyway, gonna get everything set up and ready to go here. And we're gonna get ready to talk about Blood and Guts. This was a fantastic show tonight, so kick back, relax. We got about another 2.5 minutes on the countdown clock, and then we're gonna hit the introductions for the show. And then not only that, after we hit the introductions, we'll get this party started, and we're gonna break down Blood and Guts from top to bottom of the card. I'll let you guys know what I thought of it. Why do I feel this is possibly one of the best AEW Dynamite episodes of all time? Well, you guys are going to have to listen to the show to find that out, because I got all the info for you. So we're going to talk about it all. So anyway, guys, kick back, relax, get ready. We'll hit the introductions. We'll get this party started. Your AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts 2023 review and results show will be coming your way next. So don't go away, because I will be right back. See you guys in a little bit.
This is M-Dog 20, Matt Cross. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, and you are checking out Beyond the Ring with my man, Big T. Thank you, man. Big T. Well, this is EC3 of TNA Wrestling, and you are so very fortunate because you are watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.
This is the bad boy Joe Janela, and you're watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.
How's everybody doing out there tonight, guys? Are you ready to talk about some AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts? Because I am. How you doing, guys? Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Big T, right here with all of you guys today. And, welcome to episode number 510 of the Beyond the Ring with Big T Elite Wrestling podcast here for today, Wednesday, July 19, 2023. This is your AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts 2023 review and results show. So we're gonna get on into everything right here. Give me a second. Okay. So, I'm your host, Big T, right here with all of you guys today. Welcome to the show, and episode number 510 of the Beyond the Ring with Big T Elite Wrestling podcast here for Wednesday, July 19, 2023, AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts 2023 review and results. Don't forget, guys, make sure that you check out my website, beyondtheringwithbigT.com. Call into the show live on Skype, BigT_119. Follow me on Twitter, Beyond the Ring with BT. Like me and follow me on Facebook, Beyond the Ring with Big T. Like me on, or follow me on Instagram at Beyond the Ring with Big T. All that good stuff, everything you need is right here. So, don't forget to donate to the show on PayPal as well. PayPal links at the top of the description of this video and every single video that I do, and a PayPal button on my YouTube homepage. So make sure you get that around. I got the Deer Park water tonight, guys. So, this is what we're drinking. Let me take a quick sip and we'll get started. Alright, folks, so, don't forget, hashtag Justice for Pretty as well. But, let me pull up the results here, and we're gonna get this party started right here, right now. And talk about AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts. Which, I gotta say, was a fantastic show tonight. Blood and Guts was really, really good. One of the best AEW Dynamite shows of all time. I know some of you may find that hard to believe, but I'm telling you, this show ranks up there with, like, Bash at the Beach. When I went, what was that, in 2021? Yeah, in 2021. In Cleveland, you know, this ranks up there with that. I mean, this show was absolutely unbelievable. Start to finish, it felt like a pay-per-view. Nothing about this show really felt like a Dynamite. This show felt like a pay-per-view. They could easily put this show on pay-per-view for 2 hours and charge people, I don't know, $25-$30 for it. People would have paid it. I mean, this is definitely pay-per-view caliber. One of the biggest shows of the entire year that they did. So, very, very good. It was headlined by the Blackpool Combat Club and the Golden Elite in the Blood and Guts match. As you can see here on the layout, was the featured match. That's why the Elite logo's in gold, because it's the Golden Elite with Kota Ibushi. Okay. Making sure I got everything in the YouTube comments and everything else that you guys need, which now everything's in there. Alright. So now let's pull up the results page. We're going to get on into this. I'll tell you guys everything about the show. Alright. So AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts. Review and results show for today, Wednesday, July 19, 2023. We got the Golden Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club in Blood and Guts match. And tonight's AEW Dynamite for Wednesday, July 19, 2023 is coming to us live from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, it is no secret that the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club have major issues with one another, with tensions between the two groups boiling over throughout the course of the past several weeks in the form of numerous physical and verbal confrontations. Tonight, the two parties look to put their issues to bed once and for all as they square off in a Blood and Guts match with Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, which is Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, teaming up with Kota Ibushi, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta, joining forces with Konosuke Takeshita and Pac. So, the new number one contenders for FTR's AEW World Tag Team Championships will be determined as AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF and Adam Cole, baby, collides with Jericho Appreciation Society's the Spanish God Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. Now, Sammy Guevara defeated Daddy Magic Matt Menard and MJF and Adam Cole defeated Daddy Magic Matt Menard and the Butcher in the quarterfinals and Big Bill and Brian Cage in the semifinals, with MJF and Adam Cole, beating Matt Hardy and Jeff Jarrett in the quarterfinals of, let's see. Or with Daniel Garcia beating Matt Hardy and Jeff Jarrett in the quarterfinals of the AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin in the semifinals. Oh, yeah, with Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, so that's how both teams got there. Alright, got it. Last month during AEW and NJPW Forbidden Door, Jungle Boy Jack Perry betrayed Hook with an attack on the entrance ramp. Following Jungle Boy's match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Sonata, Hook has been looking for a chance to get his hands on Jungle Boy since, making several attempts to blindside him backstage. Tonight, Hook has the chance to do just that, as both men will face each other one-on-one with Hook's FTW World Heavyweight Championship on the line, so we'll see how that goes. And, actually, we're live here at the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Excalibur, Taz, Tony Schiavone, They all greet audiences at home as Jungle Boy Jack Perry makes his way down to the ring with a new look, and Hook follows him out there. So, that's how we kick off this show. Let me tell you something, I was pumped. I was really pumped for this. But let's see. Okay. Making sure I got all the other, little news and notes for you guys here that you might need. So, we'll be alright there. So we got a match for the FTW World Heavyweight Championship. FTW World Heavyweight Champion Hook goes one-on-one with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And a match for the FTW World Heavyweight Championship. Hook defending the FTW World Heavyweight Championship here. So, the bell rings, and Hook wastes no time as he fires off right hands, to Jungle Boy's midsection. Before Jungle Boy slides out of the ring and Hook follows him, and Jungle Boy delivers a knee to Hook's midsection as he follows it up with a chop. But Hook sends Jungle Boy crashing into the audience and clotheslines him back into the ringside area as he tosses Jungle Boy back inside the ring before Jungle Boy delivers a drop kick to Hook off the middle rope. Go to commercial, come back from the commercial break. Jungle Boy looks to deliver a German suplex off of the apron and to the outside. Hook prevents him from doing so and delivers a T-bone suplex to Jungle Boy and then drags Jungle Boy back inside the ring. Jungle Boy slides back out and sends Hook spine first into the ring post and then delivers an elevated DDT to him off the apron. Both men get back in the ring and Jungle Boy delivers a German suplex. Hook lands on his feet and delivers a pair of German suplexes on his own. Jungle Boy delivers a low blow to Hook while the referee is distracted and follows it up with a sliding elbow as he goes for a pin, but Hook kicks out. He grabs the FTW World Heavyweight Championship from the Timekeeper's area, but the referee catches him. Hook accidentally sends Jungle Boy crashing into the referee and delivers a suplex and then goes for a pin. No one is around to count it, and Hook checks on the referee. Jungle Boy then hits Hook with the FTW World Heavyweight Championship, right in the face. And then Jungle Boy pins Hook for the 1, 2, 3 and the pin and the win. And, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. And, gets the 1, 2, 3 and the pin and the win. Your winner and new FTW World Heavyweight Champion is Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And Hook gets his first loss in AEW. But, I guess Hook was bound to lose at some point, but I don't know, it's something about him losing this way that they couldn't come up with anything better. This was all they could do. And what's Jungle Boy gonna do with the FTW World Heavyweight Championship? I don't know what to really think here on this. We'll have to see where it's going to go. But it was a great match. And at least Hook lost with, all the cheating that could possibly be done. So Hook was, protected here. But Jungle Boy beats Hook for the FTW World Heavyweight Championship and wins first AEW singles title on AEW Dynamite. So Jungle Boy Jack Perry buried his past on Wednesday night on Dynamite and uncovered the path to singles gold in AEW. Now, off of a downed referee to strike Hook in the head with the FTW World Heavyweight title belt to get the 1-2-3 and the pin and the win, the pinfall victory. It is the first singles title for Jungle Boy, who previously had a reign as one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions, alongside Luchasaurus. Prior to the match, Jungle Boy debuted a new entrance theme. First, his old theme Tarzan Boy by Baltimore played, but that was quickly cut off. A video then played showing Jungle Boy in a desert burying his old wrestling boots. Back in the arena, he then made his way to the ring to one of the most famous works of classical music, the first movement of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. No longer introduced as Jungle Boy, he was announced simply as Jack Perry. So I guess now he's just going to be known as Jack Perry. For Hook, Wednesday night's loss is the first loss of Hook's professional wrestling career, as Hook wrestled, his first match of his career on an episode of AEW Rampage in December of 2021. Hook won the FTW World Heavyweight Championship from Absolute Ricky Starks last July and carried a career record of 34-0, 34 wins, no losses into his title loss to Perry. You guys will probably hear me call him Jungle Boy again, because I'm so used to calling him Jungle Boy, but now we gotta get used to calling him Jack Perry. So your winner and new FTW World Heavyweight Champion is Jack Perry. Was a good match, and Jack Perry really used all of his heel tactics that you would expect of him to use, for sure. So no surprise. Alright guys, what else? We head over to a video of Alex Marvez and a cameraman catching a video of Chris Jericho and Don Callis having a meal and looking at some photos of the security guard standing nearby. When Don Callis sees Marvez over there, Callis sends his security over to that section, to basically get them out of there. And that's what happened. They stopped rolling cameras pretty much immediately. And we then head over to another video of MJF and Adam Cole having some dinner, eating some at a Chinese restaurant, like some spicy chicken, and they were taking a few shots at Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia and telling some stories, and the chicken ended up getting really spicy. Spicy to the point where MJF really couldn't handle it. Neither could Adam Cole. And then they had the waiter bring them drinks. And the drinks, MJF was the first one to bring it up. They're like, hey, this water tastes funny. What's the deal? And the waiter goes, oh, these drinks are not water. These are 100% pure alcohol. Right away, Adam Cole and MJF were like, oh no. I'm like, oh God, please no. And next thing you knew, they were drunk. And that's when they ended up telling stories and all that stuff, because they were just totally drunk. Like, out of it drunk. So, that was that segment. It was great, by the way. MJF and Adam Cole, they just do a great job, and, they're awesome. And by the way, big thank you to Mr. Green of VG's Imaging for making me on the ring with Big T look great tonight with the AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts layout tonight. So I want to do a shout out there. Anyway, after the video of MJF and Adam Cole, we go to commercial. We come back from the commercial break and we got Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, heading down to the ring. Kayla Sparks is already waiting in the ring, so we got Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, going one-on-one with Kayla Sparks. And, the match was what it was. It was pretty much a squash. The bell rings. Baker delivers a sling blade to Sparks. Sparks delivers a boot to her face, but Britt lands a suplex and a twisting neck breaker as she cinches in the live jaw for the submission win because Sparks taps out. And your winner's Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Could have gone without that match, to be honest, but was what it was. It was only like 1 minute and 5 seconds. It was a squash. But anyway, that match had pretty much no bearing on the outcome of the show tonight at all. Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, they make their way down to the ring. Chris Jericho unexpectedly appears and calls for his music to be cut, much to the dismay of the crowd. Jericho then joins commentary as Adam Cole and MJF head down to the ring. And this is what happened here. This is the finals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. And it goes like this. MJF and Adam Cole going up against Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia in the finals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. So, let's see what's going to happen. What's going to happen with this? Well, honestly, before the match even got started, both teams have a mini dance-off before Garcia and Guevara blindside Adam Cole and MJF. Bell rings. The dance-off was actually funny, because they don't do this all the time like WWE does. And so they made this an actual fun segment, at least I thought. But, after the dance-off, the bell rings. Garcia cinches in a side headlock on MJF. And, Adam Cole tags in and MJF delivers the right hand to Garcia's head. And Sammy helps Garcia slide out of the ring. MJF runs the ropes before stopping himself and posing as Sammy pulls Adam Cole off the apron. So we go to commercial. We come back from the commercial break. Garcia tags in and prevents MJF from making the tag. Sammy tags in and goes and does the same. Both men mock Adam Cole and MJF by looking for a double clothesline. But Adam Cole tags in and delivers a pump kick to Garcia. He follows that up with a super kick, but Garcia fires off kicks on his midsection. Cole lands a super kick and lowers his knee pad and then looks for the boom. As Sammy puts a stop to things and looks to go flying off the apron. But Cole catches him with a super kick in midair and tags in MJF. And Sammy delivers a double Spanish fly to MJF and Cole. Now, Cole tags back in and delivers a kick to Sammy's jaw. Garcia makes the blind tag and locks in the sharpshooter, but Cole makes his way to the bottom rope to break the hold. Cole dumps himself out, but Cole encourages himself and MJF. They successfully do the maneuver as Cole holds open the ropes, and MJF gets Garcia back in the ring, and Adam Cole delivers the Panama Sunrise. MJF then tags in, and MJF then tags in, and MJF and Adam Cole, they both deliver the double clothesline to Garcia for the 1-2-3 and the pin and the win, folks. That was some amazing stuff right there. So your winners of the AEW Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament are indeed MJF and Adam Cole. MJF and Adam Cole, baby. Alright, so let's take a look now. MJF and Adam Cole win Blind Eliminator Tournament. Will face FTR on July 29th episode of AEW Collision. Despite losing the pre-match dance-off, Adam Cole and AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF have a lot to celebrate tonight. On Wednesday's AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts show, MJF and Adam Cole defeated the Jericho Appreciation Society's Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara in the finals of the AEW Blind Eliminator Tag Tournament. Not only did the team debut matching gear and a new remix theme that combined their respective anthems, but also hit their heavily hyped double clothesline to get the 1-2-3 and the pin and the win. The win seemed to create a bit of friction in the Jericho Appreciation Society, but the tournament winners, MJF and Adam Cole, were too busy celebrating to notice. Chris Jericho came down from his position on commentary to console the losers, but was brushed off by both Garcia and Guevara. Adam Cole and MJF's celebration was cut short by the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR, as the tag team came out fresh off, their nearly hour-long title defense against Bullet Club Gold, Switchblade Jay White, and Rockhard Judas Robinson. And they stared down the tournament winners, MJF and Adam Cole, ahead of the July 29, 2023 AEW Collision episode, where the two teams will face off. After the stare down, MJF and Adam Cole's music hit, much to the chagrin of FTR's Dax Harwood, who told Tony Khan to play their music as they are the champs. So it looks like we got FTR against MJF and Adam Cole. It was great stuff, though. Great stuff. Let's see, what else do we got? Okay. There's definitely some things I can talk about. So we'll get into that in just a second. Alright, let's see. Alright, since I loved tonight, the dance-off, Jungle Boy coming out to Beethoven. I believe the Blood and Guts match with Broken Glass a fork, a spike, table, and thumbtacks. Bed of nails, the Boston crowd being electric, and you sick fuck chants. Yeah, I mean, this was an incredible night. So far we got Omar, Carlitos, Hunter. Welcome, guys. Alright. But after the match, Chris Jericho meets Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara on the ramp. He applauds them, but the pair brushed past him and head backstage. Jericho storms after them as Adam Cole grabs MJF's AEW World Heavyweight Championship belt, the Big Burberry belt, the Triple B. MJF becomes enraged and snatches it out of Adam Cole's hand as Adam Cole calms MJF down, and both men hug. However, MJF glares at Adam Cole while his back is turned. FTR's music then hits, and Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler get into the ring before staring down MJF and Adam Cole. And that was that. That was that. But yeah, that Blind Eliminator Tag Tournament Final, I thought was amazing. I really did. I thought that was amazing. See, there's one local police officer in my city who I know went to Blood and Guts tonight since he's a big wrestling fan. Couldn't have picked a better show to go to, Hunter, to be honest with you. They did an amazing job. I mean, really, at this point, if they're going to make the Blood and Guts Dynamite shows like this, honestly, Blood and Guts could become its own pay-per-view. Boston's only 2.5 hours from Maine, so from you to Boston is like from me to Detroit, Michigan. Same amount of distance, pretty much. That's what we're looking at distance-wise. But, yeah, you know, that's what we got. And so far, so good. You know, the Jericho Appreciation Society falling apart because of the whole thing with Jericho and Don Callis. Nobody in the JAS knows really what's going on. So Jericho, they might be going against him here. I mean, who really knows? But, yeah, Detroit, Hunter, Detroit. And Pittsburgh the other way. You go the one way to Detroit, you're there in 2.5 hours. You go the other way to Pittsburgh, and you're there in 2.5 hours. I'm like right in between, right in the middle of Pittsburgh and Detroit. Right here in Cleveland, Ohio. So we go to commercial, we come back from the commercial break, guys, and this party's gonna get started. You know, because we're already 1 full hour into Dynamite. So now, you know, we gotta get into the rest of this here. Ooh, got a story here real quick. Former TNA star Shark Boy reportedly backstage at AEW Dynamite for Shark Week tie-in. So, since AEW's inception, All Elite Wrestling has worked with a number of legends of professional wrestling from various eras of the sport in a number of different capacities. Whether it is coaches like Jerry Lynn, Billy Gunn, and Arn Anderson, or special guests like Bret Hitman Hart, Road Warrior Animal, Sabu, and most recently Jushin Thunder Liger, Tony Khan's promotion has a reference has a reverence for those who came before them and paved the way. And at tonight's AEW Blood and Guts Dynamite in Boston, it appears that another legend from the heyday of TNA has reportedly been welcomed backstage. Now, according to PW Insider, former WCW and TNA star Shark Boy has been seen in the arena ahead of tonight's highly anticipated Blood and Guts match between the Golden Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club, with Pac and Kenosuke Takeshita. Now, the outlet reports that the WCW Power Plant graduate Shark Boy was brought in as a part of a promotional tie-in for Discovery Channel's annual Shark Week, which is sponsoring the broadcast this evening. Now, despite being a guest on Warner Brothers Discovery, despite being a guest of Warner Brothers Discovery, it is currently unclear what role Shark Boy will play during the show. However, he has been part of several social media posts since arriving at the building today, including some Instagram stories of Colt Cabana and Shark Week mascot Chompy. So, that's what we got. Shark Boy was backstage, I guess, for Shark Week. Pretty interesting, eh? Alright. And then, I got a few other things here before I get into Blood and Guts. So let me see. Let's see. I'm looking because there was a couple pieces of news that I want to get to before I get into the main event match. Let's see. Hunter says, fun fact, I made my AEW debut tonight. I was in the shark costume. So that was you, Hunter. That was you. Let's see. Alright. News. News. Thought there was one more before this. And let's see, there we go. I was hoping to run into you backstage at TD Garden, but I did not see you. I never felt so hopeless in my life. Yeah, Hunter, I wasn't there. Here we go. Britt Baker would like a rematch with Saraya at All In. At AEW All In. Next month, AEW will head across the pond to host All In at Wembley Stadium in London. While the event is still weeks away, several AEW talent have already begun discussing potential matchups for the event. As the anticipation continues to build for All In, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, has now revealed who her ideal opponent would be. Britt Baker says, and I quote, "I think I would want to wrestle a homegrown talent at All In. I would want to wrestle someone from the UK just because of the natural nemesis there." Britt Baker told Mark Andrews, my Love Letter to Wrestling podcast, "Honestly, I would say probably Saraya, because I want to get a win back on her so bad. And to wrestle her in her home country and to beat her there, that for me would be the sweetest revenge ever, because she beat me in her first match back in what felt like a decade. So I'm still recovering from that. My pride is a little shot. I would love to wrestle Saraya and pin her in front of her mom. But what if she was given the opportunity to wrestle a non-AEW talent at All In?" Britt was emphatic in wanting a match with her real-life friend, Deonna Purrazzo, who is a 3-time Impact Knockouts World Champion. In the landscape of WWE, Britt Baker is keen on facing the Queen, Charlotte Flair, whom she often gets compared to. Britt Baker touted Charlotte Flair as one of the best performers in the wrestling business, before praising her for the confidence that she exudes in light of constant criticism. Britt Baker says, and I quote, "I think Charlotte Flair is very admirable. Her attitude, her poise, it's everything about her I looked up to," Britt says. And this was from Mark Andrews, my Love Letter to Wrestling podcast. And Wrestling Inc. did the transcription there. So that's one thing. There's another thing. AEW's Darby Allin, on when he knew he made it in professional wrestling. Making it may be a rather subjective term, but Darby Allin has a clear image of the moment he felt his career take off to the next level. During a recent appearance on Lost Signals, Darby Allin recalled his AEW debut, which saw him battle Cody Rhodes to a time-limit draw at Fyter Fest in June of 2019. So, while the match wasn't nationally televised, Darby greatly cherishes the opportunity. Darby says, and I quote, "Honestly, I felt like I made it when I made my AEW debut against Cody Rhodes, because even though that wasn't national television yet, just being on that stage and that platform, making the entrance, I looked through all the people and I'm like, whoa, I felt like in my mind I made it." A few months later, Darby Allin defeated Jimmy Havoc to become the #1 contender for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. The next week, Darby Allin challenged Chris Jericho for the title in a Philadelphia street fight on AEW's third ever episode of AEW Dynamite. Darby says for AEW to take a chance, and for Jericho to take a chance week 3, that is not a lot of weeks. That was very special to me. So that was another feeling of, oh, the company has like faith in me, so it's cool, Darby says. With the stakes of this match raised even higher, Darby felt obligated to hit a home run with his performance. Darby says, "I pulled out all the tricks that I had in this brain and left nothing on the table because I don't want someone to see that and be like, oh, Darby wasn't quite ready. I want them to be like, yo, he's ready." Despite his eventual loss to Chris Jericho, Darby continued to carve out his legacy as one of AEW's 4 pillars. And while he has yet to capture the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, Darby is a 2-time AEW TNT champion. So, this was from the Lost Signals podcast at Wrestling Inc. Did the transcriptions there. And boy, oh boy. Is that going back in time or what? Let's see. Let's see. Okay, guys. So, let's see. What did Carlitos have to say? Carlitos says, Big T is crazy. He eats corn the long way. Wild. Man. Never heard that one before, bro. Oh, man. Oh, man. Alright. Let's see. So those are a couple stories. Let's see what some other ones I got here. What's some other ones I do have? This is something that I think is interesting. It's the only thing that's not related to AEW, but here, The Miz says Miz and Mrs. Season 4 is up in the air. Miz and Mrs. has aired 50 episodes across 3 seasons. However, it has now been a year since Season 3 concluded, and there was no news on a 4th season until now. During a recent interview with Comic Book Nation, The Miz revealed that they are working on getting it on the air. Miz says, and I quote, "My wife Maurice and I are working on it. It is still up in the air," Miz says. "We are still trying to figure it all out. It is not just throwing a show together and putting it on air. There's a lot that goes into a show that Maurice and I are very proud of. Let's see. Maurice and I are very proud of. There's a lot going to show. Maurice and I are very proud of that we love. Every episode of Season 1, 2, and 3 are available on Peacock and we have put everything in those. Miz added, we are involved with what's going on there, the editing process, and we just made sure that we gave people moments, things that a family can sit down and watch and enjoy together. And we feel like we successfully did that. Now for season 4, there's just a lot that goes into getting it back up on air and going. Ms. and Mrs. premiered in July 2018 on the USA Network with nearly 1.5 million viewers. The reality series has covered the birth of the Mrs. and Maurice's 2 daughters, Monroe, Sky, and Madison, as well as Mrs.'s participation on Dancing with the Stars. Maurice has largely been away from WWE since competing in a mixed tag team match against Beth Phoenix and Edge at WWE Royal Rumble 2022. Since then, The Miz feuded with Logan Paul and Dexter Lumis, and The Miz also hosted both nights of WrestleMania 39 this year. And Fightful did the transcription of this, but when I saw that, I thought that was kind of worthy to throw in here. Because, I mean, Ms. and Mrs. has been a big thing, and the fact that who knows what's going to happen with it, it's like, damn, guys, you know. But, okay, guys. Okay. So I got a couple more pieces of news, which we'll get into here, so we'll see how this all goes. And I'll keep you guys filled in on the news, you guys know that. I can definitely do that for you. Alright, so now, drink the rest of this Deer Park because I'm thirsty, and we'll continue on. Whew. Alright, guys. That's such good shit, pal. Alright. So let's take a look. Next story. AEW reportedly keeping Thanksgiving tradition alive. AEW is reportedly keeping Thanksgiving tradition alive. AEW is known for running shows in Chicago during Thanksgiving week, and the tradition doesn't appear to be ending anytime soon. According to Fightful Select, AEW will visit Chicago, the Windy City, this year as well, continuing the trend for the 3rd consecutive year. With that being said, this year's AEW Thanksgiving shows could, theoretically, be affected by a tentpole WWE event and a go-home show. WWE Survivor Series and WWE Friday Night SmackDown will roll into town a few days after the November 22nd, 2023 edition of AEW Dynamite. As such, some Chicago wrestling fans might be picky regarding which shows they attend. Furthermore, it remains to be seen if AEW will run Collision in the city during Survivor Series weekend, but it is highly possible considering that the Second City Saints CM Punk is a big part of the Saturday night show. Now, little is known about the upcoming AEW Thanksgiving shows, but it will be interesting to see if the company honors the season. In previous years, Tony Khan reportedly teased plans for a giant egg that would have echoed the infamous gobbledygooker prop from WWE Survivor Series 1990. But that vision has yet to come to fruition. AEW is known for its Chicago events. AEW has a tradition of hosting big shows in the city, with the most recent being the debut episode of AEW Collision, which featured the return of CM Punk following a long hiatus. AEW All Out 2023 will also emanate from Chicago's United Center for the third year since its inception. And there you go. So Thanksgiving traditions for AEW will remain the same. Alright. Tony Khan explains lack of women's blood and guts match on AEW Dynamite. On tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, the Blackpool Combat Club can also get the Catch to Impact will go to war with the Golden Elite in a brutal blood and guts match. However, it seemed like AEW was also building towards a second encounter in the massive steel structure involving the Outcasts versus a team led by Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter, for one reason or another. It never came to fruition, and Tony Khan has finally addressed why. Let's see. During the media call for Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor, Fightful learned that Tony Khan cites depth issues as the reason for leaving a women's blood and guts match off the card tonight. Tony Khan says that due to a number of injuries that have recently plagued the women's locker room, including Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, and Willow Nightingale, who recovered and would go on to win the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, the match was not a feasible idea for them this year. Tony Khan says some of the momentum for that, when Jamie here was running hot as champion, was there. And I'm not sure at this moment, given some of the injuries we had, that was feasible. Tony Khan says also, with so many of the women competing this week in the Owen Hart Cup tournament, it is a very hard-hitting match, and there is a lot of attrition for it. Santana still hasn't been back from last year. The women's division is pretty beat up. They've been beating the hell out of each other. Beating the hell out of each other. Let's see. Some fans may find Tony Khan's comments frustrating, especially considering the common criticism of how he books AEW's women's division. Let's see. Tony Khan's frustrating, especially considering the common criticism of how he books AEW's women's division. After all, AEW has a stacked locker room. Yet most shows only have one women's match per episode. And considering the top male stars in tonight's match, are they not banged up as well? Fair or not, many are likely to consider Tony Khan's explanation lacking. So that's what we got. And there is some backstage news here. Backstage news on a talent meeting held before July 8th episode of AEW Collision. While there doesn't appear to be an official brand split in AEW, it seems that Collision is closing ranks on Dynamite. Fightful Select is reporting that a talent meeting was held before the July 2023 edition of AEW Collision. July 2023 edition of AEW Collision, led by CM Punk, which focused on ways to differentiate the program from AEW Dynamite. According to the report, the meeting helped ease the worries. Differentiate program from Dynamite. According to the report, the meeting helped ease the worries of Collision wrestlers. CM Punk reportedly led the locker room in a discussion of finishes, shenanigans, and other things that they want to avoid on Collision on the Saturday night program. Also covered at the meeting were the recent reported safety guidelines, as well as a reminder to work a bit harder at promoting projects like the AEW Fight Forever video game. The meeting seemingly strengthens the argument that Collision was established to give wayward AEW roster members, including the decisive CM Punk, a place to compete. Including the decisive Punk, a place to compete. Okay, there was talk of doing a roster split before the debut of Collision, but nothing official ever took place. Though the meeting and the attempts to differentiate the program do lend credence to the possibility of a soft brand split. Punk infamously took a hiatus from AEW after getting in a backstage altercation with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, that led to the belief that Collision, which featured Punk's return on its debut episode, was established to keep CM Punk, the former AEW World Heavyweight Champion, separate from the AEW Executive Vice Presidents. CM Punk recently appeared on AEW Dynamite, but it was notably an episode that the Elite was absent from outside of a pre-recorded promo. So, it seems like as long as the Elite's apart, Punk can be on the show all he wants, it don't matter. But it seems like the Elite don't want no part of him at all. Let's see. What other stuff is there? Alright, a couple more. Why Darby Allin feels at home in AEW. Unlike most of his peers, Darby Allin's not your prototypical all I ever wanted to do was this modern day wrestler. In fact, Darby Allin, admittedly not a huge fan of wrestling growing up, does not watch WWE or any promotions outside of AEW, and his passion for skateboarding supersedes his day job. as such, for Darby to feel at home in a wrestling company is probably a tribute to AEW's work culture, which has allowed many others like him to stay true to themselves. It is definitely home. It is 100% Darby. Darby told Lost Signals from day one when I heard AEW was going to announce as a company. I heard the term creative freedom, and I knew I needed to be there. Because what you see out there is 100% Darby Allin. I'm not acting like anything. I'm not being told what to do. What you see is what you get, and I love AEW for it. When asked, let's see. Let's see is what you get. I love AEW for it. When asked to provide examples of his creative freedom shining through on AEW programming, Darby revealed that he convinced AEW CEO Tony Khan to produce the pre-debut vignettes introducing Nick Wayne. So that's one. Let's see. When asked to run through a program, Darby Allin said he convinced Tony Khan to produce the pre-debut vignettes for Nick Wayne, adding that he wanted the AEW audiences to familiarize themselves with Nick Wayne, the young wrestling prodigy whom he mentored on the indie circuit. Now Darby goes on to say here, let's see. Darby goes on to say, I didn't want Nick Wayne to be thrown out there as a random guy, Darby stressed. I wanted him to have a backstory. I come up with a lot of stuff. Let's just say that, but that's the beauty of it. Tony, let's make the ball and run with it. So, let's see. I didn't want Nick Wayne to get thrown out there as a random guy, Darby stressed. I wanted him to have a backstory. I came up with a lot of stuff, let's just say that. That's the beauty of it. Tony lets me take the ball and run with it. That's all I've ever wanted in my life. Not just wrestling, but life. It is just the opportunity to do something big with myself. And there you go. End quote. Got some news on Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy to defend AEW International title against AR Fox on AEW Dynamite next week. Orange Cassidy will put his AEW International Championship on the line against former Evolve champion AR Fox on next week's AEW Dynamite. And Orange Cassidy's title defense was announced during a backstage interview segment on this week's AEW Dynamite, featuring the Best Friends and Darby Allin, where Darby Allin told Orange Cassidy that he has a favor to owe to an old friend. Here's, and I quote, Orange, I have a question for you. I have an old friend that I owe a favor to, and I'm not asking for a handout or anything like that. But without him, I don't think I'll even be here. He took me in when I was homeless, and his name is AR Fox. Let's see, his name is AR Fox. How about you defend that international championship against him? Asked Darby Allin. Let's see, his name is AR Fox. How about you defend that international championship against him? Asked Darby Allin. And let's see. Yeah, Darby, we're cool. Fine. I'll give AR Fox a shot. Is what he replied in his nonchalant manner. That's what Orange Cassidy did. So, I'll give AR Fox a chance, or a shot. Orange Cassidy replied in his nonchalant manner. So, looks like we'll have Orange Cassidy and AR Fox next week for the TNT title. TBS champion Chris Stylander takes on Marina Shafir on Rampage Friday. Darby Allin and Nick Wayne is in the Royal the Royal Rampage match on Friday on Rampage. The Best Friends in a fatal 4-way for the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles on Friday at Death Before Dishonor. So Rampage has a couple things, and Death Before Dishonor, their pay-per-view, will be going on then. It's going to be busy. And then Orange Cassidy and AR Fox next week on AEW Dynamite. Yeah. It's going to be pretty busy, folks. Orange Cassidy last defended the AEW International Championship on last week's Battle of the Belts show, where he defeated Lance Archer by countout. That win was Orange Cassidy's 26th successful title defense, which is the most in AEW history. Orange Cassidy has held the title. He's held the title since October of 2022, and is closing in on the landmark 300 days as international champion. AR Fox, meanwhile, will be challenging for a singles title for only the second time in his AEW career. Let's see. AR Fox, meanwhile, will be challenging for a singles title only for the second time in his AEW career. AR Fox previously had the chance to win the AEW TNT Championship last November when he lost to then champion Samoa Joe. So, that's that. I'm just trying to get all you guys caught up here and everything you need. And a big rest in peace to the Iron Sheik. We love the Iron Sheik here. And here's something about the Iron Sheik that I'm going to throw in these stories. Alright. Iron Sheik's death certificate reveals that he died from cardiac arrest. The Iron Sheik passed away on June 7, 2023, leaving behind a WWE Hall of Fame career and a plethora of memories. Let's see. TMZ is now reporting that according to his death certificate, the Iron Sheik died a natural death died a natural death of heart failure. The conclusion of his battles with congestive heart failure let's see. TMZ is now reporting, because TMZ does have a report here, is now reporting that according to his death certificate, the Iron Sheik died a natural death of heart failure. The conclusion of his battles of congestive heart failure and hypertension before his passing. Initially an amateur wrestler and bodyguard for Saha Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Sheik, who was born Hassan Khosrow Ali Vaziri, fled his native Iran in the early 70s. And let's see, initially wrestling for Vern Gagne's American Wrestling Association, he joined what was the World Wrestling Federation. Just before the dawn of the 1980s, a prominent figure in the company, Sheik held the WWF Championship as well as the WWF Tag Team Championships during his time in the during his time in the company. Sheik would later join let's see, where's my spot here? Let's see, for Gagne's American Wrestling Association. He joined what was the World Wrestling Federation just before the dawn of the 1980s. A prominent figure in the company, Sheik held the WWF Championship as well as the WWF Tag Team Championship during his time in the company. Sheik later joined World Championship Wrestling in the early 1990s before finally returning to WWF's Colonel Mustafa, managing American Turncoat Sergeant Slaughter during his divisive WWF Championship run. Sheik officially retired from wrestling in 2010 after being inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2005. Sheik became something of a meme figure thanks to the Twitter account run by his managers that was known for its profanity-laced tirades against Hulk Hogan. Many wrestlers memorialized Sheik after his passing. With MVP saying that he believed Sheik was the most memorable heel in the history of the WWE. Fellow WWE Hall of Famer, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, shared a quote that Sheik once shared with him. "If I had your hair, I would be with Elizabeth Taylor." Yeah, and that's that, so that's everything on the Iron Sheik that came out. Yeah, guys. So that's plenty of news. Let's get into the match itself and talk about it. Go to commercial, come back from the break. Claudia Castagnoli heads down to the ring. Kenny Omega follows. We got the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudia Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Konosuke Takeshita and Pac going up against the Golden Elite of Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, and Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Kota Ibushi, in a Blood and Guts match, which Blood and Guts, guys, was amazing. Oh, and Hangman Adam Page is in there too for the Elite in a Blood and Guts match. So the bell rings, Omega locks up with Claudio. Claudio fires off uppercuts on Omega, but Omega reverses things and does the same. Omega lands a back elbow before Claudio delivers a backbreaker and delivers a knee to Omega's neck. Claudio dumps Omega between the two rings, but Omega sends him into the top turnbuckle face first as he then ascends to the top and delivers a crossbody and then dumps Claudio into the other ring and delivers a chop. Claudio delivers a series of chops and uppercuts, but Omega delivers a Hurricane Rana and a lariat. And, the next participant enters the cage, and it's Pac. Omega fires off right hands and chops on Claudio, but Pac ascends to the top and surprises all of us with a drop kick as he delivers a few more to his midsection. Let's see. Pac ascends to the top, surprises him with a drop kick. He delivers a few kicks to his midsection and delivers the drop kick. Okay. So we go to commercial. We come back from the commercial break. Claudio and Pac continue to wear down Omega. However, it is time for Hangman and Page to enter. Let's see. Go to commercial, come back from the commercial break. Claudio and Pac continue to wear down Kenny Omega. However, it is time for Hangman and Page to enter, and he takes out Claudio with the clothesline as he then delivers a fallaway slam to Pac before landing a powerbomb and ascending the top rope as he delivers a moonsault to Claudio. Omega then tosses Pac over to Page, and he delivers a German suplex as Omega and Page delivers simultaneous boots to Claudio and Pac in opposite rings. But Claudio responds with a drop kick to Omega as Page continues wearing down Pac. So, the next entrant for the Blackpool Combat Club is up. It's Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley marches to the ring. Right away, he jams a fork right into Hangman's eye and does the same to Omega's ear. And, that's something that'll bust you open right away, but Kenny Omega was smiling about him. So, he does the same to Omega in his ear, jams the fork into Hangman's eyes, and then does the same to Omega in his ear. Moxley then jams the fork into Hangman some more, and then hands Claudio a fork of his own. Moxley rakes Omega with the fork as Pac holds him in place. And, let's see. Hands a fork of his own. Let's see. Page some more and then lands. Hands Claudio a fork of his own. Moxley rakes Omega with a fork as Pac holds him in place and does the same to Page. Claudio jams his fork into Omega's eyes. Moxley grabs a bucket from under the ring, slides it back into the ring as Hangman fires off some forearms as Moxley catches him with a lariat and dumps broken glass across the ring from the bucket. So the Golden Elite's about to get some backup. Nick Jackson is the next entrant as he delivers a drop kick to Moxley off the top, and that sends Moxley into the glass spine first. And then delivers a kick to Claudio and a stunner to Pac. And he clotheslines Pac into the other ring and then delivers another stunner to him and a Hurricane Rana to Claudio off the top rope in the other ring. Moxley sends Nick Jackson into the glass spine first and then stomps on his chest. And, he delivers another stunner, right? Moxley sends Nick in the glass spine first, stomps on his chest. Claudio and Moxley suplex Omega on top of the glass shards, and Claudio dumps Nick Jackson into the other ring. Blackpool Combat Club gets him back up in Wheeler Yuta, who is the next entrant, as he runs down to the ring with a chair in hand. So, Yuta rams the chair into Nick Jackson's midsection and then suplexes him on top of the chair. Claudio then sends him face first to the top turnbuckle repeatedly as Moxley jams Omega's face into the side of the cage as Pac holds him in place as Moxley fires off right hands, and Matt Jackson's out for next for the Golden Elite and delivers a pair of lariats to Pac. He plants Pac face first and then plants Yuta on top of the chair with DDT. Matt delivers sliced bread to Claudio off of Moxley and then delivers a shooting star press to Moxley. As Nick Jackson goes flying off the top, Pac sends Paige into the top turnbuckle face first as Matt delivers a Hurricane Rana to Moxley. Moxley plants both of the Bucks. Plants both of the Bucks to the suplex. Plants both the Bucks to the suplex each. Let's see. Face first. Trying to see here. Just gotta move a little bit, alright. So. Yuta ramps the chair in Nick's midsection, suplexes on the top of the chair. Claudia sends him face first in turnbuckle repeatedly as Moxley jams Omega's face in the side of the cage. Pac holds him in place as Moxley fires off right hands. Matt Jackson is on next for the Golden Elite and delivers a pair of lariats to Pac as he plants Pac face first and plants Yuta on top of a chair with a DDT, and then Matt delivers a sliced bread to Claudio off of Moxley and then delivers a shooting star press to Moxley as Nick goes flying off the top. Pac sends Hangman to the top turnbuckle face first as Matt delivers a Hurricane Rana to Moxley. Moxley then plants both of the Bucks with a suplex before Claudia delivers an uppercut to them both as Omega plants Yuta in the broken glass face first. The final member of the Blackpool Combat Club's team enters. It's Kenosuke Takeshita. He runs down to the ring with a chair in hand as Don Callis trails behind him. Takeshita hits Nick Jackson with a chair in the face and then sends the Bucks crashing into one another, delivering a German suplex to them both. Callis joins commentary as Omega's. Let's see. Takeshita hits Nick with a chair in the face. Takeshita runs on the ring with a chair. Don Callis right. Takeshita hits Nick Jackson in the face of the chair. Sends the Bucks crashing into one another, delivers a double German suplex to them both. Don Callis joins commentary as Omega wrestles the chair to Takeshita. So, Omega wrestles the chair to Takeshita. Don Callis joins commentary. Takeshita prevents Omega from hitting him with it and then plants him. Moxley grabs a bed of nails from under the ring and sets it up in the corner and bites Omega's head as he looks to send him into the bed of nails. But Omega puts a stop to the momentum. Moxley drop kicks Omega into the nails and slams him on top of it. The final men enter the match, and Kota Ibushi makes his way down to the ring. Yuta runs up the ramp to meet him, but Ibushi levels him into the cage. He levels Pac, Claudio, and Ibushi fires off right hands and kicks. Takeshita wears down Nick Jackson in the corner as Ibushi delivers the double kick to Claudio and Pac on the ramp. Matt Jackson, Wheeler Yuta, Matt Jackson suplexes Wheeler Yuta as Ibushi plants Moxley on the bed of nails spine first. So, he delivers a standing moonsault as Matt Jackson and Wheeler Yuta go tumbling off the stage. Takeshita delivers chops to Omega, but Ibushi and Omega catch him with a knee and a kick respectively. Pac fires off some stomps on Ibushi while Claudia sends Nick crashing into the side of the cage. Go to commercial, come back from another break. Yuta and Matt have ascended to the top of the cage. They continue to brawl with one another before Matt delivers rolling German suplexes to Yuta. Yuta eventually counters with the DDT and then climbs back down and gets back inside the cage. Omega whips Claudio into a garbage can set up in the corner as Matt rains down right hands on Pac, and Moxley delivers a pile driver to Ibushi, and Matt rains down right hands from the top of the cage as Nick and Hangman plant Pac and Claudio on top of the tacks with back body drops and climbs down as Nick fires off and kicks everyone. Matt then gets inside the cage. So now, Matt bites to catch this. Nick pulls the table out from under the ring and sets it up in the corner. Ibushi powerbombs Pac in the corner as the Bucks land kicks on him before Omega delivers the moonsault. And, let's see. Now things get a little bit extreme here. Let's see. Matt bites Takeshita. And Nick pulls out a table from under the ring, sets it up in the corner. And, you know, what was really interesting was when, when they came back from the break, Yuta and Matt had ascended the top of the cage. They continue to brawl with one another before Matt delivers rolling triple suplexes to Yuta. Yuta counters at the DDT, climbs back down the cage as Omega whips Claudio into a garbage can set up in the corner. As Matt rains down right hands on Pac. Moxley delivers a pile driver to Ibushi. Matt rains down attacks from the top of the cage. Nick Jackson, a Hangman, and a Page plant Pac and Claudio on top of the tacks with the back body drops. And it was pretty cool how they did that, though. You know, Moxley delivering the pile driver to Ibushi. Matt raining down tacks from the top of the cage, just pouring them through the top of the cage. It was raining thumbtacks. Nick Jackson and Hangman and Page planted Pac and Claudio on top of the tacks with back body drops and climbs down as Nick fires off kicks on everyone as Matt then gets inside the cage. So, I mean, this was getting very, it was getting very good. Very, very good. Which Blood and Guts, honestly, is always a very good match. Blood and Guts is something that, you know, you really do want to sink your teeth into when you can. Which, I'm trying to get my phone, guys. Give me a second. It fell off the chair. There we go. Sorry about that. Alright. Okay, we're good. So, Matt Jackson bites Takeshita as Nick pulls out a table from under the ring and sets it up in the corner. Ibushi powerbombs Pac into the corner as the Young Bucks land kicks on him before Omega delivers a moonsault. Which, you know, that was pretty freaking cool. That's always cool, honestly. Yeah, this is some damn good wrestling. Now, what's up, Jordan? How's it going? Moxley is a beast, man. Moxley really is a beast. You're right. Matt Jackson bites to catch this. Nick Jackson pulls out a table from under the ring, sets it up in the corner. Ibushi powerbombs Pac into the corner as the Young Bucks land kicks on him before Omega delivers a moonsault. Matt Jackson then goes flying, and Nick Jackson delivers a 450 splash as Nick Jackson locks in a sharpshooter on Pac, as Matt Jackson locks in a crossface as Pac escapes, and Hangman and Page body slams Jon Moxley on the tacks. Nick Jackson sets up a table between the two rings as Takeshita delivers a forearm to Ibushi, as Takeshita plants Ibushi on the top of the tags before Ibushi does the same to him. Yuta fires off some right hands on Matt in the corner and sits him up on the top as the Moxley does the same to Paige. Claudio does the same to Omega, as does Takeshita to Ibushi. And one by one, they plant the Golden Elite with suplexes as Pac swings off the top of the cage and delivers a double stomp to Nick Jackson through the table in the middle of the two rings, like in that space in between the two rings. So, like I said, guys, this was getting crazy, It really was getting crazy. This was interesting. It was very interesting. I did not expect, something to get this crazy. But, lo and behold, it did. And this is why I love Blood and Guts. I mean, how can you not love Blood and Guts? Blood and Guts for AEW is just, it's an incredible thing. And they can't take away blood. I've been hearing rumors that AEW is going to change, blood spots now and all this crap. It's like they better not. Because AEW, they need the blood spots, The blood spots is what makes everything interesting. If you had, can you imagine having the Blood and Guts match without any blood? I mean, just imagine that, guys, really, seriously. Imagine Blood and Guts with no blood. It'd be the most ridiculous thing you can think of. I guarantee you that. You can never have it with no blood. That would be so stupid. Come on. They would fall into the same trap of what WWE has fallen into. And that trap of what WWE has fallen into is, having Hell in a Cell matches and cage matches and not having any blood in those matches. I mean, really, you need blood in matches like that. If you don't have blood in matches like that, it doesn't work. It doesn't come off right. It just doesn't go well. It just really doesn't go well. So, that's all I'm trying to say here is that sometimes you need that little bit of blood. It's warranted, You can't just be like, oh, we don't want blood anymore, and because then you're taking away Blood and Guts and everything that made that whole match concept so cool. It just don't. It's just not a good thing, guys. Not a good thing. So, that's my opinion. What's yours? Let me know what you guys think of all this, but, we still have the rest of the Blood and Guts match to review, which, we're going to get to, so don't worry about that. But I'm just I can't believe, how some people can actually want, no blood, nothing interesting. It really does give a whole nother layer to everything. Sometimes you need that, especially when you're having an event called Blood and Guts, for God's sakes. You need that. Because why even have Blood and Guts then? It wouldn't make sense to have Blood and Guts. It just really wouldn't. But anyway, let me see here. I'm trying to think, guys, when was the first Blood and Guts? I'm trying to think when the first Blood and Guts for AEW. It was in 2021. I think it was in May, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was Blood and Guts. So, let's see. Alright, there we go. Continuing on with the match. So after that spot in the middle of the two rings here, all 10 men now, because there were 10 men in this match. Let's see. Hey, Courtney, what's up? Courtney says, the Blood and Guts match make for a hazardous and deadly compromised talent. I see your point. I do. I do. I could definitely see that because you are putting 10 athletes inside of a structure like the Blood and Guts cage. And when I'm thinking back, you know, now you're making me take a step back and think here. And yeah, even though it's for entertainment and, you know, you enjoy the reason why I enjoy it and why I like seeing the blood, honestly, if you want my honest answer, Courtney, why is it brings back old school, you know, because this was the old school. This is the old school War Games match that was around in the NWA and then in the WCW back in the day. You know, when you had the Four Horsemen, their team going up against Dusty Rhodes and his team, and they would have this they had this match, but they called it War Games. Now AEW, they took the same match and they call it Blood and Guts. But yeah, you know, the reason why I love the blood and everything is because it's like old school. But I do see your point because I'm thinking back to last year, and one of the wrestlers, trying to think, it was Santana. His name was Santana, and he competed in the Blood and Guts match last year, and he had some kind of, absolutely. Old school memories with new school values. Absolutely, Courtney, for sure. But yeah, now that I'm thinking, Santana last year, he wrestled in AEW and he got hurt in the Blood and Guts match last year. I forgot what happened. It was a certain spot and his knee went out on him. His knee completely buckled, and he has not wrestled in the ring since. He's been out. We haven't seen him since, and it's been a year. So, I can definitely understand your point of, you know, how it makes, you know, it's hazardous and conditions, you know, and compromises the talent. It does. Because, I mean, I see what happened to Santana last year, and, you know, now, by you saying that, it's, it made me think back to a year ago. So, I mean, it's one of those things, you know, definitely where, how do I say it? It's one of those things, you know, that even though I love to see it, yeah, you know, there is risk involved, and I understand exactly, what you're trying to say for sure. And this year I haven't heard anything yet. I don't know if anybody got hurt. I'm hoping that everybody involved in this match is 100% safe and healthy. I haven't seen anything on injury reports up until this point. But what they did in this match today, I love the old school feel of it. The old school feel is like just like the most amazing thing. You don't see this much in today's professional wrestling product. But after that spot with the double stomp to Nick Jackson through the table in the middle of the two rings, all 10 men, they make their way to their feet. They all face off with one another. 5 men are in one ring, 5 men are in another ring, and they're all looking at each other, and then they cross the ropes, and they start brawling with one another in the center of the cage. Takeshita delivers a double clothesline to the Young Bucks, but Hangman levels him as Moxley delivers a cutter to Page. But Ibushi levels him. Pac then takes him down, and Omega catches him with a Snapdragon suplex into the glass as he looks for the One-Winged Angel. But Pac escapes and locks in the Brutalizer as Takeshita locks Ibushi in a hold as Moxley does the same to Hangman. Claudio delivers the big swing to Matt Jackson and locks in the sharpshooter as Ibushi escapes Takeshita's grasp and, breaks up all the other holds in the ring. He fires off kicks on Claudio but absorbs them until the third one breaks the sharpshooter. Moxley then delivers a lariat into the corner and the Blackpool Combat Club takes turns taking strikes. Pac and Claudio then get into it after a miscommunication occurs. Pac gives the Blackpool Combat Club the middle finger. Pac slides under the ring, grabs the pliers. He looks to cut the lock off the cage door, and Pac leaves the cage. So, Pac hits Claudio with the door on his way out of the cage, allowing Omega to deliver a V-trigger to Yuta and a pair of Snapdragon suplexes to Moxley. And Takeshita on top of the broken glass. Hangman delivers the buckshot lariat to Claudio and Yuta in separate rings. Omega simultaneously delivers a V-trigger to Yuta as Hangman and Nick Jackson handcuff Moxley. Don Callis calls Konosuke Takeshita out of the cage, and both men leave ringside as Nick Jackson jams Wheeler Yuta's head into Matt Jackson's tacked up. He's all tacked up from the thumbtacks. Hangman and Matt Jackson then choke Yuta with the chain. Moxley then surrenders to save Wheeler Yuta because Wheeler Yuta's being punished. And then your winners here are the Golden Elite of Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, and Hangman and Page and Kota Ibushi. The Golden Elite wins. Afterwards, the Blackpool Combat Club and Golden Elite, they bury the hatchet with mutual respect, shaking hands, on each side of each other. And that was that. That's how the show ended, and it was great. It was great stuff. I really enjoyed this show. This show was one of my favorites. One of my all-time favorite shows. And, if AEW continues to build on this every year, I wouldn't be surprised if they could take this from a regular weekly Dynamite show that they have once a year and turn it into its own pay-per-view, because this is something that can definitely be its own pay-per-view. No doubt about it. Got some news real quick before we wrap up. The American Dragon Bryan Danielson provides a health update and comments on Blood and Guts ahead of AEW Dynamite. AEW is mere hours away from the Blood and Guts match between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Golden Elite, and former world champion and noted fan of the violent arts, the American Dragon Bryan Danielson, is hating the fact that he won't be able to get in on the bloodshed tonight. Bryan Danielson says, and I quote, "Sad I am missing out again on Blood and Guts," Danielson wrote on Twitter, "but Pac is a fantastic addition on the side of the Blackpool Combat Club. Can't wait to watch the mayhem, and there's nobody better in these types of matches than the Blackpool Combat Club." Pac was revealed as Danielson's replacement last week due to Pac's long-standing issues with Kenny Omega. Danielson unfortunately broke his arm in a match with Kazuchika Okada at June's Forbidden Door pay-per-view event. According to a follow-up tweet, Danielson underwent surgery on the broken limb, getting a steel rod and 9 screws placed in his arm to aid in healing. Danielson also says surgery went well. "I'm on the road to recovery," Danielson wrote. "Thank you all for the support and check out Blood and Guts tonight." No timetable's been given for Danielson's return to the ring. This is the second year in a row that he is sidelined for Blood and Guts, as last year he was also out with an injury. So Bryan Danielson wants to get in on Blood and Guts, but he's always hurt and not able to compete in Blood and Guts as of yet. Alright guys, so let's take a look here. I know you guys like this when I did this on the Raw review, so I'll do this at the end of every review show that I do now, since you guys enjoyed this. And this is how we'll end the shows each week. With the, on this website, Wrestling Inc., they have 3 things we hated about AEW Dynamite and 3 things we loved about AEW Dynamite. They do the same thing with WWE. 3 things we love about Raw, 3 things we hate about Raw, 3 things we love about SmackDown, 3 things we hate about SmackDown, 3 things we love about Collision, 3 things we hate about Collision. And I tried this out reading it on Monday Night Raw review. And everybody that was in just watching, even though nobody was chatting, everybody that was in watching stayed through watching the whole time. So I take it you guys have an interest for this. So I'm going to go through this, and this is how we'll end, each of our shows now. We'll end each of our shows this way. With the 3 things loved and the 3 things hated. And, you guys can take these opinions and, just think amongst yourselves, do you agree with it or not? And this gives you guys something to think about, so I can imagine, too, that's probably why all of you are enjoying this and enjoy ending the show on this note every week. So let's get into this. Okay, so AEW Dynamite for Wednesday, July 19, 2023 for the special Blood and Guts Dynamite. 3 things we hated and 3 things we loved. This is according to Wrestling Inc. AEW runs 5 pay-per-views each year, possibly 6 in 2023, depending on the All-In situation. But we haven't been excited for any of them the way we were excited for this week's AEW Dynamite. Jack Perry was apparently fighting Hook for the FTW World Heavyweight Championship outside the parking lot, which was disappointing, but we had the finals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament to look forward to, featuring MJF and Adam Cole, possibly our favorite wrestling odd couple since Sami Zayn walked into the Bloodline's locker room, and of course, the 3rd annual Blood and Guts match, which just so happened to double as the AEW debut of former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and longtime Kenny Omega's soulmate, Kota Ibushi. We've been fans of Kota Ibushi for many years, and last year's Blood and Guts was our favorite AEW match 2022, so we were obviously hyped. And honestly, It seems like this is their favorite AEW match of 2023 now as well. I noticed the Blood and Guts match really grabs the attention of a lot of people. And it really has an interest. Like, people really have an interest. And it's on a lot of people's favorite match of the year cards if you're keeping tabs at home. That's one thing that I did notice. So AEW could also be taking this into consideration, because it's always one of their bigger shows and one of their bigger things, that they're all looking forward to, when this comes around at this point of the year. But as far as Blood and Guts, what was loved and what was hated, we're going to get into that right now. And let's take a look here. Okay. Let's see. So for everybody who wants to know whether the show lived up to expectations, here are 3 things we hated and 3 things we loved about the July 19, 2023 episode of AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts 2023. So we got that. So first thing, they started off with what they hated. And it says here, should have stayed in the parking lot. Now they're referring to the Hook and Jack Perry matchup. I guess that this should have been a parking lot brawl, or this should have been in the parking lot, type deal. That's what they're saying here. So let's see. What does it say? We're still not sure what to make of the new Jack Perry. We loved the fact that he turned heel on Hook, but despised his first heel promo. We thought the parking lot stuff had potential if it kept going, but Wednesday's match took place in the ring, and while we are theoretically into him coming out to Beethoven, the initial tease of the old Jungle Boy music followed by the theatrical burying of his old persona in the desert came off as both overdramatic and unnecessary. Perry already said weeks ago that it was the last time we'd hear the Jungle Boy music. His promo already made it clear that he was playing a significantly different character, and that Jungle Boy was effectively dead. Couldn't he have just come out to do music and been done with it? Anyway, the match itself, this according to them, not to me, was entirely forgettable, mostly because there was not enough actual drama involved, or wrestling for that matter, to justify the screwy finish. Hook works way better as a dominant badass who chokes his enemies out in 10 seconds than as a regular babyface wrestling a regular match. Either this thing should have been shorter to play to his strengths, or it should have been longer so that they had more time to incorporate character beats. We also spent, a not significant amount of time confused about the rules. Do FTW rules mean you can win the title on a count out? We remember them as being sort of hardcore. Anything goes kind of thing, but the only weapon that was used was the FTW World Heavyweight title belt itself, and that happened while the referee was down. Oh well, this is probably not the end of the feud, and hopefully their next match will not get stuck at the bottom of a loaded card. AEW tends to do this kind of thing, where the first big match in a feud is short and disappointing, but the follow-up gets more and more creative attention. So we can stay optimistic for now. FTW World Heavyweight Champion Jack Perry has potential. It just kind of sucks. This is how Hook's undefeated streak goes out. So this is thing number one that was hated tonight. Thing number two that was hated tonight. And that this is what they say again. Not me. This is not my opinion. This is theirs. I'm just reading this to you guys so you can, think amongst yourselves here of how you feel. It says, Tony Khan officially stops caring about women. You know how we're always saying that AEW should do more squash matches? Well, we didn't mean they should give Britt Baker 1 minute of extremely awkward in-ring time and then be done with the women's division for the night. It says that is some monkey's paw shit right there. I don't understand why these people care about Britt Baker so much. I mean, if you really want to know my opinion, I do not care about Britt Baker. I don't know what to say, not a fan. It was like, who cares to me? I looked at it as the 1 minute of squash. The 1 minute squash match, it's like, okay, she was on, she was off, good. We didn't have to see her out there for, my God, like 15, 20 minutes. At least it was 1 minute and done. Would have been preferably if they would have just cut her from the show altogether. That would have been more of a welcome addition, but didn't go that far. Anyway. Let's see. Extremely awkward in ring time. And then be done with the women's division for the night. Alright. First, Tony Khan comes out with that completely bogus list of excuses as to why they didn't do a women's blood and guts match this year. And then he books a wrestling show in 2023 with 66 seconds of women's wrestling. 66 seconds on a 2-hour show. There wasn't even a promo segment or a video package involving women. Nothing. The only other women who have even appeared were Renee Paquette and Chris Statlander, who basically stood around next to the best friends, Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, and Nick Wayne, saying nothing and listening to the announcement of her latest uninspired AEW Rampage opponent. Let's see, it says AEW's been bad on this issue before. A lot, but we're not sure that they have ever been this bad on this issue. There's a scene in the film Waiting where Justin Long's character, low-wage restaurant server, receives an insultingly low tip from a pair of customers who had been rude to him throughout their meal. In a fit of anger, he catches up with the couple on their way out the door and tells them they forgot their change. When they respond that it's his tip, he presses the tiny amount of money in their hands and tells them to keep it because you obviously need this more than I do. That's how we feel about the AEW women's division right now. They say, you know what, Tony, if this is all you got, just don't bother. Stop insulting us, book your whole show without women. You obviously need the TV time more than they do. Of course, we never actually say that to Tony Khan because we actually do want all these women to be employed and continue collecting checks from the billionaire who pays them. Lord help us if he ever starts to believe that he can cut the women's division entirely without making Twitter mad at him. So those were two things hated by Wrestling Inc. Let's get the first thing that they actually loved tonight. What was one thing that they actually loved? Oh, I got something here that they actually did love tonight. I want to know what it is. They loved the double clothesline. Adam Cole and MJF bonding via product placement, this time at a Chinese restaurant, is a gag with rapidly diminishing returns. But the ship got righted in a hurry via their backstage Renee Paquette interview, followed by their entrance. Matching trunks, matching jackets, a mashup theme song, MJF's pure, unadulterated delight at the theme song, in particular, is the stuff of instant wrestling legend. As is what happened when the unlikely brochachos got in the ring with Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia and engaged in an impromptu, delightful dance-off. I thought that was hilarious, by the way. That was funny. And yet, somehow, the best was yet to come. This might be a hot take, but we legitimately think this was the best match of MJF's career. I wouldn't go that far, but, that's what they think. Yes, he's had good in-ring showcases before. Most notably, the Iron Man match against the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. But we can't stress enough how wonderful it was to see an AEW match structured entirely around story beats and character work, and MJF was the straw that stirred the drink. We loved his early heelish dive tease, which paid off massively late in the match when Adam Cole convinced him to face his fears and actually do the dive. A callback to the Chinese restaurant segment, because this storyline continues to somehow build vital character moments into its thinly veiled advertisements. We love the number of times they teased but failed to deliver the double clothesline until finally hitting it to win the match. We love that MJF got the pinfall for the first time in the tournament, cementing his partnership with Cole more than any matchup could. We love that Cole, preparing to hand MJF the World Championship belt, was mesmerized by it long enough for MJF to notice and immediately become protective and paranoid. And we love that Adam Cole talked him down and the two of them hugged it out, and FTR showed up to provide them with a common enemy, one that MJF has history with, no less. Just awesome. Everything about this was awesome. Give them the titles. AEW, keep this going as long as you can, because we still have no idea which of these guys is ultimately going to turn on the other. All we know is that we love this version of MJF way more than the guy who used to cut the same heel promo in the ring every week, and that 2023 continues to be the year of tag team wrestling. Another thing that was loved tonight, it says right here, Jericho unappreciated. It says the other nice thing about the blind eliminator tag team tournament finals was the post-match also advanced the story of Chris Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society. Jericho was on commentary for the match, clearly trying to reconnect with and show his support for Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. Now, Jericho's commentary had a different tone than it usually does when Jericho calls matches involving wrestlers in his stable. He sounded gentler, less irritated with his former pupils when something bad happened to them, more earnestly regretful. Unfortunately, he had also been caught on film hanging out with Don Callis earlier in the episode, and when Jericho walked onto the ramp to support Danny Garcia and Sammy Guevara after their loss, both men deliberately chose to ignore Jericho and kept walking, mirroring Jake Hager turning in his purple bucket hat to Jericho last Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, and a couple of weeks ago. We lambasted Jericho for what we believed he was doing, setting up an angle with Don Callis to get himself into the Blood and Guts match, also known as AEW's hottest angle, in place of the injured American Dragon Bryan Danielson. They say here, we would like to formally apologize to La Champion Chris Jericho, as it turned out he was doing nothing of the sort. Instead, he appears to be doing a slow and surprisingly poignant angle with the other members of the Jericho Appreciation Society as they pull away from him in response to his association with AEW's most despised heel. So, that's something pretty great, actually. We can get on board with this. I think I can, too. So let's see, what else do we got? The third and final thing that they hated, it says, sort of, Blood and Guts. Last year's Blood and Guts ironically contested between Chris Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society and a babyface Blackpool Combat Club with Eddie Kingston by their side was a somewhat flat overall match with a finish that we loved with our entire heart. We couldn't tell you basically any of the spots that led up to it, but we know every detail of the finish because it found a really creative way to grow certain characters, specifically Eddie Kingston. Now, this year's Blood and Guts had much more to recommend it during the larger body of the match, but it was the finish that fell a little bit flat. There were a few things that threw Blood and Guts off for us. It's not for me, but for these people. The problem with 5 versus 5, especially on TV, is you can't showcase everyone. Some people are going to be doing more interesting things than others. And while we expected that going in, we weren't expecting one of the people who didn't really get featured to be Kota Ibushi, who didn't totally lock himself in his AEW debut. By which we mean he looked like someone who hadn't wrestled in 4 months. Omega was heavily involved, and he wore Ibushi's colors, which was sweet, but Ibushi's only real moment was when he first entered the match, punching every member of the Blackpool Combat Club on his way to saving Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley and his insane bed of nails. Aside from that, he spent a lot of the match in the background, didn't even interact with Kenny Omega that much, and wasn't even really involved in the finish, as people for whom Ibushi's participation was obviously a major draw. That was disappointing. As for the finish itself, we can't say it wasn't creative, but it was also very weird after Pac, the Blackpool Combat Club's last-minute Danielson replacement, got accidentally hit with a move by Claudio, and then got into a shoving match with his alleged teammates, as he ended up walking out of the match, even using bolt cutters to open the cage door. So that's different, when he left. Don Callis, who had been on commentary, hastily ordered his client, Konosuke Takeshita, to leave the ring as well. That left the Golden Elite with a 5-on-3 advantage, which they quickly used to beat up and choke the life out of Wheeler Yuta until Jon Moxley supposedly surrendered the match. We say supposedly because the camera didn't catch it. So that's it, the great story of the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club, and it ends with the heels briefly fighting from beneath before being brutally overpowered and executed by the babyfaces. Really? That's just an incredibly anticlimactic ending. We're starting to hope this isn't the end of the feud, so they could come up with something better. And now the final thing that they loved. They said also loved Blood and Guts. It says, all of the above aside, the actual Blood and Guts match really did rule. Starting things off with Kenny Omega versus Claudio Castagnoli was inspired, as they gave us some excellent non-hardcore wrestling. before Jon Moxley came in and started pouring broken glass on the mat. It's a bit of a shame that AEW does so much hardcore stuff so often that this is what Blood and Guts needs to do to elevate the violence level. But we were obviously, let's see. Started pouring broken glass on the mat, alright. To elevate the violence level because we weren't expecting it. Let's see. To elevate the violence level, let's see. But we were obviously expecting it, and in the gross out factor, never hit critical levels, even with the bed of nails in play. Moxley, of course, bled everywhere on everything, but he was the only one who got serious color, at least until Yuta in the closing moments, as the Young Bucks did the Young Bucks thing. The Young Bucks did the Young Bucks thing, which they do well if you're into that kind of thing. And in the end, the Visible Heroes, the Conquering Good Guys, were the core elite trio of them and Kenny Omega. But the MVP of the match, indisputably was Pac, who was doing cool stuff basically at all times, and performed the match's highest spot, a double stomp from the top of the inside of the cage through an opponent lying on a table in the ring in a manner that only someone with his unique degree of body control could pull off. He looked so good that it actually made a weird amount of sense for Don Callis to pull Konosuke Takeshita out of the ring as he saw Pac leave the ring. But let's see, in fact, it says right here, in fact, the more we think about it, the more we are okay with it. The finish of this year's Blood and Guts. We always want finishing sequences, especially for big matches like this one, to say something about one or more of the characters involved, to move them forward in their development and ultimately change them. That's partially why it was going to fall flat upon first seeing it, because the ostensible heroes of the story didn't change or grow, or really have any dramatic character moments at all. But that's the thing, the Elite were never the ones with the character arc in the story. Aside from Kenny getting revenge on Don Callis, the only dramatic stakes any of them had were resolved weeks ago when Hangman Adam Page rejoined his former team. Fittingly, it was also Hangman choking out Yuta with a chain at the end, similar to what Moxley had done to him. Now, what matters is not who wins the match. What matters is why. And the Elite won this match because Pac and Takeshita left. The Blackpool Combat Club, who were still relatively new to being heels, couldn't trust their heel cohorts. They aligned themselves with people who willingly walked out on a fight. The main character of Blood and Guts, as it turns out, was Jon Moxley, the man who threw in the towel because he knew the match had become unwinnable, and who sat in the aftermath with a look of stupefied contemplation on his face, as though he was wondering how it had come to this. Eddie Kingston might be in Japan right now. But, this finish plays directly into the questions Eddie Kingston had been asking about Jon Moxley before he departed. What happened? What kind of person are you? Do you realize how far you've lowered yourself? Those same questions were written on Jon Moxley's face as he realized the depths to which he had fallen, the allies with which he'd chosen to surround himself and his fellow members of the Blackpool Combat Club. That's the interpretation we're going with anyway. It's the one that makes sense in terms of why Blood and Guts ended the way that it did. We'll see how it plays out, but we wouldn't be at all surprised to see Jon Moxley veering back towards babyface territory soon, though he damn well better wait until Eddie Kingston comes back. That's it, guys. And the Blood and Guts match was amazing. Everything was amazing about this show. I loved the show. I had a lot of fun watching the show. And you know what? For me, I'm going to say that AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts 2023 for today, Wednesday, July 19, 2023. I'm going to give the show, without a doubt, a 10 out of 10 plus. Right there, and the 2 thumbs up and the big T seal of approval. Awesome show tonight. Also, big thank you to Mr. Green of AJ's Imaging for making Beyond the Ring with Big T look great for Blood and Guts tonight with this awesome layout. And you'll see more new looks and new graphics for the rest of my shows as we go along the rest of the week. So, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. I really do. I had a lot of fun. So, I will see all you guys next time. And yes, there will be a next time for me right here on Beyond the Ring with Big T. And that will be for your WWE Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Collision review results shows sometime on Saturday night. And don't forget us, and we won't forget you. And of course, if you want the best, and yes, I do mean the absolute best for all of your professional wrestling needs, right here on the internet, right here on YouTube.com today. Always remember to think Beyond the Ring with Big T. And then, of course, everybody, as always, thank you very much for watching and listening to episode number 510 of the Beyond the Ring with Big T Elite Wrestling podcast here. For today, Wednesday, July 19, 2023. This has been your AEW Blood and Guts, AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts 2023 review results show. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and then I'll see you guys on next time. I'll see you. It'll be Saturday for sure. For SmackDown and Collision, if I could get it all in there. So we'll figure it out, guys. But tonight was fun, and it was a great show to watch. And like I said, I got the 10 out of 10, the 2 thumbs up, the big T seal of approval. It was an amazing show, one of the best AEW Dynamite episodes of all time. Can't get much better than that. This was one of the best, if not the best, AEW Dynamite episode of all time. So, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And of course, everybody, as always remember and never ever forget that I'm your host, Big T, and that I'll see all of you at the matches, and I'll see all of you for SmackDown and Collision coverage on Saturday night. Big thank you to everybody who dropped in tonight and spent time on the show, especially Courtney. Big thank you to her for dropping by, and all you guys too. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and so take care, everybody. I love you all, and thank you AEW and Tony Khan for a great Dynamite Blood and Guts show tonight. But it was awesome. So like I said, I'm your host, Big T. I'll see all of you at the matches. Take care, everybody. I love you all, and of course, good night, everybody.
This is M-Dog20, Matt Cross. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, and you were checking out Beyond the Ring with my man, Big T. Thank you, man. Big T.
Hello, this is EC3 of TNA Wrestling, and you are so very fortunate because you are watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.
This is the bad boy Joey Janela, and you're watching Beyond the Ring. AEW